Okay, hello everyone. So today we got a PRS copy coming in for Pro setup. Apart from that, he also needs a fret leveling. The full details of the work will be in the video later on. So stay tuned. I'll see you at the end of the video. Bye. Okay, hello everyone. So today we got a PRS copy made in Indonesia coming in for a Pro setup. Apart from that, the main issue is the fret leveling. Yeah, so I'm gonna straight go into the fret leveling part. Okay, when he come in, there is a few buzzing. He says around here, but when I check, it goes across the board. There's a couple here, there's a couple here, and there's a couple here. Now, how I test is I will use a fret rocker and I will check. Okay, I will check. Sometimes I don't have to check, it just play and it will come out and present itself. Example, maybe something. Okay, hear that? So there's a few. Sometimes when you play it statically, one note, there's no sound. But when you bend it, because of the radius of the fretboard, sometimes you will get this buzzing. So it's scattered. Alright. That's why I recommend to do a full fretboard flush. But when I want to do a fretboard flush, the whole fretboard, meaning what happens is that I will check a few other things. I will check whether the fret wire is flat to the fretboard. So I've drawn a bit here. I hope this helps. This is a cross section of it. This guy here is the fretboard, then this is the fret crown, and this is the tank. Okay, this is the one that bites into the wood. Now, if let's say there is, you see this fretboard and this crown, the underside of it here, if it's not flat to each other and it's not in contact and it's not flat to each other, what happens is that your fret wire is higher, meaning it pops out more. It could pop out more than the rest of the fret wires. If this happens, then your fretboard or your fret wire is not level to each other. It has to be level to each other. Alright, that is number one. If let's say it's not fully in contact, what happens is that there is a hollow part, not only here but also the underside. I'm going to quickly just draw for you what I mean. Alright, hold on. Something like that. And like that. Together here. Okay, I hope this helps. Okay, the second picture here. There is a gap. I didn't exaggerate it, but the bold line there is the gap itself. Then the underside also there's a gap. Now, if this happens, it's not in fully contact with the fretboard. Sometimes what you get is you have a void, like an air pocket, and this could affect your sustain of the guitar itself, because there's no transference. To have transference of this energy of the string itself, it needs to have full contact. That's why sometimes when I want to check, I will take something like what we call it. I will take a piece of metal and I will go across the fret wire, and I will knock it until to a point that sometimes there will be a hollow part, maybe right in between or at the edges. Okay, so if it does happen like that, meaning there is a void underneath the fret tank, or the fret wire and the board is not flush with each other. Okay, so if it does have that, then you might not have the sustain that you should get. Okay, there's a few ways for you to rectify that. One thing is to knock it down a bit more, then level it. In this case, I wouldn't be doing that. Reason being is being super glued at the edges. This is one of the ways how luthiers sometimes they want to keep the ends down. They will put super glue and they will clamp it down, or they will put wood glue in between their frets and the fret wire before they clamp it down. I do that personally too. But in this case, a lot of the fret wires is not flush and there is void underneath the frets itself. Maybe later on, maybe 2-3 years after frequent playing, you might want to refret and we get it done properly. Okay, but for now, I think a fret level should be good enough. I would not knock it in or clamp it down even further, because if let's say there's a void here, I clamp it down, there is a chance that it will break apart the glue joint at the side for the edges, and it will affect the smoothness of the edges itself. You can do a fret dress, but it will be a bit ugly, because sometimes what they do is after they finish the fret job, they will actually spray it with lacquer. In this case, this is what they do. So if I were to do that, then it might affect the overall aesthetic of the look itself. So as much as possible, I don't want to work so much on the edges because I don't want to affect the look itself. Alright, yeah, what you can do at home, if let's say you want to confirm that you have this problem, you can use a feeler gauge, a very thin feeler gauge, or a piece of paper. Sometimes you can get a piece of paper. Let's say this piece of paper, you just go underneath the fretboard and see underneath the fret, and you see if it can go through. This one is one of it. Can you see that? That's right. It can go in. Can you see it goes in? Alright, that's one. That's two. This one not so much. This one has. So pretty much just by testing that 3 or 4 fret wires, you can see that it's not flush to the fretboard. So that could have some energy transference issues when it comes to fretting the note. Okay, so that is one thing. Alright, sorry to be a bit long-winded about this, but let's move on. Number 2 is initially there's no floating bridge. I added that. I took out the springs. When I took out the springs, there's 2 additional springs. I took it out. Then the screw for the tram claw is also very short. It takes me like maybe 3 turns, then everything pops out. So it means that the screw isn't long enough. This, if I'm not mistaken, is a 32mm long screw. Yeah, so it's a bit longer, and I can bring it back a bit more to balance out the tram itself. Okay, so for the electronics, later on I'll be working on it as well. He did it himself, the wiring. I'm just going to clean up and use heat shrink to actually clean up a bit of the wiring itself to make it a bit tidy. Yeah, what else? Yeah, this bar initially it can only go in maybe, let me see, this much. Right now it can go in this much, more than halfway through. I don't know what happened, but my best bet is that the what we call it, the bushing inside here is a bit too big, so I drill it out a bit more to actually open up the spacing so it can go further in. Alright, yeah, so right now it stays in place and it goes further in. Alright, okay, pretty much that's it. I'm going to do a fret leveling. I'm going to do my fret leveling under string tension. Let me just give you the spec for the string right now. On the bass side is 1.5 for the 12th fret. On the treble side be 1.25 for the 12th fret. What I want to do is I want to bring it a bit lower for the bass side, maybe 1 to 1.25. On the treble side, not so much 1.25 is actually quite comfortable, but if I can go a bit lower, I will do so later on. Okay, so I'm going to do this under tension. Under tension means it's strung up in tune, and I will do the fret leveling as we go along. Alright, so yeah, be right back after this to give an update. Bye. Okay, I'm back. I just did the fret leveling. Yeah, I just did the fret leveling. Okay, sounds way better right now. I'm gonna give you a sound preview. So far so good. Let me just check and see. Okay. So far so good. I managed to bring down the action a bit more. Right now it's around 1.25 and the bass side is at 1. It's at 1. Okay. I can bring it down a bit lower, but see how it goes. I think this is pretty comfortable and clean. Any lower it might buzz, but it's not the bad kind of buzz. It's just that when I set up the guitar, I want it as minimal buzzing as possible. But if let's say you tend to play loud, and you don't mind the slight buzzing on the guitar, then you can go down a bit more to make it at least 1 mm. That will make it a bit more playable. Just now when I did the fret leveling, it take out a lot of material from here, mainly because the fret wire isn't really flat or flush to the fretboard. Yeah, then I did a little bit of fall away here so you can access a bit better. It sounds way better than it is previously, but so far everything sounds good. Let me just try and see if I can. It's loud. Very good. Sounds great. Yeah. The bar position is a bit low. Typically I would want it a bit higher, but depends on what you want. If you want it a bit higher, then you let me know. I can make it a bit higher. Reason being, if it's too low, sometimes you want to pull back, you cannot pull back as easily as it can be. For those of you guys at home, if you want to do it at home, typically people will just pull it out. But if you go too close to the edge, then you don't have enough bite into the bridge. So what I would suggest is get a vise. Maybe if you don't have at home a vise grip, typically people use 2 vise grips, so one here and one here, and they will bend the opposite direction just to open up a bit more the angle. Right now it's roughly around 90 degrees. What I want to do is I just want to open up, so it's around here. Okay, I have a vise here that I will clamp it here and I will open up a bit more, but be a bit careful. If let's say the material of the metal is a bit brittle, it can just snap out. Sometimes I will apply heat. I will flame the metal here to actually heat up a bit more before I move the thing. But sometimes I just can feel that it will give a bit more. It's a feel kind of thing. I don't know how to explain it, but sometimes you can feel whether it's at its breaking point. Then I will stop. Sometimes it will snap, but most times when I do this, it doesn't snap. So you can test it out with bars that you don't use and see and feel how it goes. Most of the time, sometimes I go by feel when I do my work. But if let's say you have another way of doing it, the safer way, you can share down below, then see how it goes. Okay, so guitar is good to go. I just want to clean up the wiring a bit more. Then yeah, the guitar is good. Okay, it was set to half step back float. As you can hear just now, I pulled up a bit more. So meaning this thing is at half step up. So when you play E, you pull back, you'll be F sharp. Okay? Alright. Done. I see you when I see you. Bye. Okay, that's all for today. If you need any of the help for the guitar or bass work, you can contact me via WhatsApp 84189951. Hope to see you soon. Bye.